Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. So I want to ask you a question, okay? Let's just assume you make $2,000 a month. What's an appropriate amount to spend on a car payment? Do you think $200, $300? What if I told you $600 every single month? You're spending almost a third of your income just on driving a car. Well, in this case, that's exactly what's going on. And Dave Ramsey is the one who actually calls this out and basically obliterates this guy on camera. If you don't believe me, just go and watch this episode as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe, because I promise you, it's going to be great. Enjoy.
So I have a BMW car payment that, when I bought, I thought I was working in Congress, I guess.
Oh, man. Okay, now, first of all, BMW. You don't need a BMW. If you're making $2,000 a month, there's no point in you driving a BMW unless you get it secondhand and someone gives it to you from a family member is like, here, it's an old BMW, go and drive it because it runs. Then maybe, but even then, maintenance can sometimes be iffy. But point being, he makes the comment that he spends like he's in Congress, and that's to make light on the fact that they just spend money left and right. It is insane, the level of spending that Congress does. Even in San Francisco, I think they were spending an average of like $20,000 on a toilet in San Francisco in public bathrooms, because that's how much it costs when you go through all the permitting process, the revisions, the fees. It's insane. Trash cans even, they were like $1,000 a trash can. Why? But anyway, back to the topic of car payments. We know already it's a BMW, and we know already it's bad. Don't do that.
It's a $600 car payment, and I make about $1,200.
Are you kidding?
No.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
were you making $1,200 a month when you took that car payment?
I was making about $2,000.
It sounds like, listen, it sounds like the guy was probably living with his parents, working a part-time job, making $1,200 to $2,000 a month, and thinking, wow, I got all this money left over. I could be cool and spend $600 of that on a BMW. But you can't do that. You know what's crazy? There was a guy, I remember a while ago, he worked at this fast food place in Beverly Hills, and the guy drove a 308 Ferrari, okay? The guy was probably making 35 grand a year, maybe 40 grand a year. Lived with his parents, though, and just spent the money on a Ferrari. He bought the cheapest Ferrari that he could, but he's driving a Ferrari working at, some fast food place. It goes to show you, it just depends where your priorities are. Like, if you're a car head and you don't mind sacrificing your financial future to be able to drive a cool Ferrari, so be it. But financially, it's probably irresponsible. Financially, it's just irresponsible.
Who is the lender?
BMW Financial.
Okay. Well, we've established that their financial people are not as smart as the people that build their cars. It's a fine car, but these people are smoking crack to give you this loan.
They don't care, though. See, here's the thing. When you go and get a loan through a dealership, a lot of the times, they'll sell out their loans to somebody else after a few months. All you have to do is make the first 2 to 3 payments, and they get paid, okay? Now, if they issue a loan, and then on the first month you stop paying it, that means it falls back on the dealership. But as long as you make the first few payments, their payment is locked in, they could sell the loan to someone else, and all of a sudden, it's not their problem anymore. So that's what a lot of dealerships do. They'll just issue loans, high interest rates. They don't care what your financial situation is. As long as you agree to make the payments, they'll give it to you, they'll sell it off, they make money, and you're stuck with the payment.
I'm scared for you, man. So, yeah, you got to get that thing sold, don't you?
Yes, and I'm negative 15,000. I'm upside down 15,000 because I rolled in negative equity from my last BMW before that.
What? This guy's making a bad decision on top of a bad decision. It's like 2 wrongs don't make a right. It's just, he's compounding the debt, and he's just rolling over debt into a new loan, and then he's like, well, crap, I can't get out of this, so I may as well make another bad decision and roll that over into something else. Negative 16 grand, so he's going to have to pay off $16,000 in addition to a $600 a month car payment on $2,000 a month. It's bad.
What are you studying?
Aircraft mechanics.
That's good. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel on your income going up substantially, right?
Right.
Like by
Right,
this time
exactly.
next year, you ought to be an aircraft mechanic making how much?
Probably about average out here is about 22 an hour.
22 an hour, that's still not fantastic though. So 22 an hour, let's say he works 8 hours, that's $176 a day, times 5 days a week, that's gonna be $880, times 4, that's $3,520 a month, times 12, that's only $42,000 a year. In California too, that means, at Los Angeles especially, that means probably about 20% income is going to be going to state taxes. That leaves him with $33,792 a year left over, or $2,800 a month. That's really not that much if he's living in Los Angeles and driving a $600 a month BMW.
I don't know how you're doing it. I mean, how are you eating and keeping this car payment up?
I live at home, so I don't pay rent.
Oh.
I'm lucky on that.
What I tell you? You know what? I used to go to these car meets when I was, a young buck, when I was 21, 22 years old, and I'd see these guys driving, no joke, $40,000 to $90,000 cars, okay? Nice cars. A lot of them BMWs. It's always the M series and the AMGs, okay? All these young guys driving these really nice cars, but they're not making a lot of money. They work just like normal, $40,000 to $60,000 salary jobs, which is good, but they all live at home, which I found kind of funny. They live at home, they save all of this money, and they spend it on the car. And again, it's like wherever your priorities lie, and if that's your hobby, so be it. And, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, you could be off doing drugs, or you buy a BMW M3, okay? So I'm just saying, like, financially it's not a smart move, but I've seen so many people do it. LA is one of those cities. Half the people you see in these cars living at home with parents.
I also have $10,000 in credit card debt.
And by the way, I want to say that doesn't mean you should not be living with your parents. I think living with your parents could be hugely tremendous, especially in a city like Los Angeles, because rent is so expensive, buying a house is expensive. If you have a good relationship with your parents, you may as well stay with them as long as you possibly can and save the money. It's just like, do you want to save the money, or do you want a BMW M3? Or an M4, or an M5, M6? Do you want an M Series BMW, AMG, or save for your future? It really just depends on what you want.
But I don't know if anybody's going to loan you $15,000 right now to sell this car, and that's really what you need.
What do you think about making a contractual loan with family members?
Well, I think it turns the borrower as slave to the lender, and I think it turns that family member into your master.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Family members is essentially willing to give you the money and help you out of the mess, maybe give you a good interest rate. May as well, as long as you respect that though. You can't go and get money from family and then just not pay them, because that screws them, puts them in a weird position. You gotta treat that so seriously if you do that.
Who are you talking about?
Either one of my two uncles that I think are able to do it, if they're willing to do it.
If I were your uncle, I would love you enough to not do that for you. I would make you fight through this, because I think there's a high probability you're not going to pay them and you're going to damage that relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. It puts him in a weird spot if he doesn't pay back the loan as agreed. Like, if you have a contract and both parties stick with it and they know the terms and they're fine with that, great. I think it could be fantastic. But imagine he breaches that contract. What is his family member going to do? Be like, all right, I'm taking the car back. No, that's going to rip apart the entire family. You can't do that. But at the same time, he breached the contract. So puts him in a very unique spot. You want to try to avoid that.
That's the problem with pain. It's a great teacher. It's a thorough teacher, but it's pain. I don't like to learn that way, and I'm sorry you're learning that way, but dude, you're getting hammered, and it's all because you set yourself up to be the nail. And it's just, wow, ouch.
I like that. I've never heard that. Dave has some really good mannerisms and sayings. You set yourself up to be the nail and you got hammered. Man, he's calling stuff hogwash the other day. I like that. I want to start using hogwash. That's hogwash. You got hammered because you're the nail. I like that.
Yes, that young man has made a really stupid mistake, but I got to tell you, BMW Financial ought to be ashamed of themselves. I mean, that's just corporate misbehavior right there. When you give a 27-year-old guy a car loan of $600 and his income is $2,000, you're a freaking con artist.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. It takes two, right? They're providing a service to him. It's not their responsibility to make sure that he's paying a financially responsible amount for their car. I mean, if you sell something and the other person can't afford it, but they want to buy it, and they move forward buying it, so be it. I mean, yeah, their financials, you just don't want to loan someone money and then all of a sudden they default on it. That's bad. Bad business all around. But at the same time, you can't stop someone from making a bad decision. Because here's the thing, if they turn him down, he's going to Mercedes. He's getting the same loan from Mercedes and maybe worse terms if they don't give it to him. Now, not justifying it, but that's the fact. So it's like everyone needs more responsibility, more oversight. I wouldn't place the blame on BMW. They're doing their job, but this guy has to make a personal responsibility to not make bad decisions financially.
No one with half a freaking brain cell thinks that car loan was morally okay. That was not okay. It's Faraz's fault too. He sat there as a grown man and signed up for that crap. But man, BMW, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Man, again, if it's not BMW, it's somebody else. Now, I would love to see the person who issued the loan to see $2,000 a month and then $600. Here's the thing though, okay? A lot of these lenders look at his take-home pay and his expenses. He's going to put 0 on expenses. He's living at home, could eat with his parents. His only expense is what? The car, okay? So when they look at his disposable income and they see $2,000 a month, they see that he has another $1,400 a month left over every single month to do whatever he wants to. His expenses are low because of that, so they could issue the loan. Doesn't make it right, but that's the way it is. Let me know what you guys think, of course, down below in the comments. It's bad, but you know what? He could get out of it. What I would probably do if it were me is get the family member loan. If someone's willing to do that, he's got to treat that loan so seriously. He's always got to pay it off, preferably early, okay? Don't make any waves with the family. Get that loan, sell the car, get something way cheaper, preferably, he just needs something like $4 grand, $5,000, something that runs, a good Toyota Corolla. I love those cars, or a good Honda. One of those. He gets this all sorted out in less than a year, he'll be totally fine. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, feel free to add me on Instagram, and don't forget that you could get a free stock with all the way up to $1,000 with our paid sponsor, Public.com, down below in the description when you make a deposit with the code Graham. Enjoy. Thank you so much, and until next time.